Hello there everyone, welcome back, and yes, it is that time of year again, keeping up the tradition. For the past few years I've been doing my YouTube channel. I have the movies I've seen list, where I talk about all the films I've seen in each year, and since it's 2018 and we're only days away from the calendar turn into 2019, I thought why not, let's just talk about the movies I've seen 2018 worst to first. Now, before I get into this, I just want to let you guys know that obviously I didn't see that many films this year, and I've only seen, in all, I was surprised, it's the least I've seen since my YouTube channel has begun. I've only seen 30 this year. A lot of people that don't watch a lot of movies and review them may be like, oh, that's a lot, but knowing critics and all, they see hundreds of films a year and stuff. So this isn't really that much. And also, one or two of them that are on this list came out last year, but I saw them this year when they opened nearby. So that's why they're on the list. And also, before I get started, a lot of these big films that everyone loves, like Hereditary, First Man, Roma, and stuff like that, I didn't see any of those kind of films. So if they aren't on the list, that's why. And if films you don't like are placed higher, that's probably why too, because I would have probably liked those films more, just haven't gotten to see them. And also, let's be civil here, because I've seen a lot of people get angry about what movies are what. But I'm open to talk about different opinions in the comments and all. So, with all that said, let's just jump into it. At number 30 is, and the worst film of the year, in my opinion, is The Predator. The Predator was kind of a mess. And what sucks too is that I really like the director Shane Black. He directed Iron Man 3, which it's kind of mixed among Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, but I really liked it. He also directed The Nice Guys, which was in my top 5 in 2016, I believe. And I just don't know what went wrong here. Like, all the characters were annoying and just not really needed to be there. Effects were so bad. Like, I was flabbergasted. And I just thought it was pretty stupid, and it sets up a sequel in a very lame way. And also, just how it opens, like, just everything about this film, I thought was just atrocious. If you want to watch my review about it, that'd be cool, but I thought it was garbage filth. So, on to number 29, which was also really bad. Hellfest. You may be like, what is a Hellfest? Hellfest, everyone, was a horror film released in September. Yeah, and it's really generic. It's basically about this psycho that's murdering these kids in an amusement park. And that's fine and all if the scares were really effective, and if it had some interesting kill moments, if it had good character development, if you had a motive on why the killer's doing this. But no, you get none of that. It's just really bland filming, and I really didn't care about any of the characters, and I was predicting what would happen, and the ending was just the biggest screw you. But yeah, so that was Hellfest. Alright, number 28, we have A Wrinkle in Time. Yes, one of the many Disney flops of the year. A Wrinkle in Time was interesting, and the trailer looked like garbage, but I was a little curious, and I loved how everyone was trying to give this film a pass and all, because, oh, Oprah Winfrey's in it, and, oh, all female led, and it's really ambitious, but really it's pretty trashy. The directing is atrocious. A lot of the acting's bad. It looks disgusting, and come on guys, don't be biased here. Just, if a movie's bad, just say it's bad. And a lot of people are like, it didn't fail at the box office, it made a respectable amount of money. I'm like, the film cost over $100 million, which is one of the bragging points as one of the first female directed films to be over $100 million. And yet here it is, barely making $200 million. It didn't even make $200 million. So you know it flopped. So, I mean, let's just admit this film was a failure, even if it was a female director and all female led, which is great and all. I'm glad that they had the opportunity and all. It's just, it was just bad. And the only good part was Chris Pine, and he was not even in it more than 5 minutes, sadly. On to number 27 is Ocean's 8. Now, Ocean's 8, I thought was really boring. Like, it wasn't particularly bad per se. Like, the acting was really well done. Had like a good premise and all, but I haven't really seen the other Ocean's films, so I don't really care. But Here, it was just such a drag to sit through, and that's the worst kind of film for me. That's why it's placed so low. Number 26. Now, this is probably going to be my first controversial part on the list, where everyone's going to be like, I do not agree, but I don't care. So, number 26, like I said, is Deadpool 2. Yes, Deadpool 2 was a mess. It was an atrocious piece of superhero filmmaking, and I think that it's so aggravating that it would have been placed lower if not for some of the funny jokes and some really nice music and stuff in it. My goodness, I don't even know where to begin with this film. Everything about it, like it was nice watching it and all, and I was like starting to get into it, but a lot of the jokes fell flat. Like one or two of them were all right. It did some stuff, like especially near the end of the film, that just undercut the whole point of the film. Like the end credit scene alone, which at first I thought was hilarious and all, I'm thinking, wait a minute, did I just waste my time, my 2 hours watching this crap and nothing really happens? Everything's undercut because of time travel. I got so mad, and it just got me so annoyed that this film is being propped up as such a great film and made a lot of money and all this. And I'm like, this film's, it's garbage. Nothing about it's any good, really. It was just so aggravating. I mean, sure, a lot of the performances were really good and it's funny at times, but I mean, the story's really generic. You know what's going to happen. And it just, the whole emotional beat of the film that was trying to get you hooked just undercuts itself by undoing everything by the end. So it was a waste of time. Trash film. All right. I got a lot of you angry. So let's move on now. Number 25, which I think a lot of you might agree with, but probably not this low, but whatever. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Yes, guys, this film was the only Harry Potter series film that I thought was garbage. But when watching this film, it's basically, here's what I would call it. Fantastic Beasts: The Tragic Backstory of Layla Lestrange, because it's basically about her. And you may be like, who the heck is that? Well, that is basically the love triangle between, she's engaged to Newt's brother, but Newt had a crush on her when they were at Hogwarts. And so it's kind of weird like that. There's like so many characters crammed into this film, and over half of them did not need to be there. Like, and there's lots of fan service that just falls flat on its face. The action was pretty indeed cool. Johnny Depp did a really good job as Grindelwald, and Jude Law, that's what got me so mad. Jude Law was Dumbledore, and he was fantastic. He was terrific. But it's basically a set movie done in all the wrong ways. And the marketing led us to believe that it'd be like Dumbledore versus Grindelwald, with a lot of other characters in it for some reason. But it wasn't that at all. Dumbledore's barely in the film. Grindelwald's barely in the film, ironically enough. And you don't really learn about any of his crimes, really. It's just a kind of a muddled mess. Time to move on to number 24, which is Skyscraper. Now, Skyscraper with The Rock was really entertaining. I can't deny. I didn't actually hate this film. I thought it was all right. Now, it was, you know, it's one of those dumb action movies. Number 23 is The Meg. And also, thank you everyone for watching my review of The Meg. I think that's my most popular movie review this year. Ironically enough, that's pretty hilarious. But yeah, it's the big dumb shark movie that could, because everyone's like, that film's gonna flop. It's gonna be trash. Makes $500 million, and they're making a sequel. Hope you're all happy. But no, seriously, I was really getting into it, and I thought Jason Statham was fantastic versus the shark. There's lots of stupid moments, as I was promised, but there's lots of serious moments, and overall I thought it was just a dumb shark movie. At number 22, speaking of dumb fish movies, Aquaman. Now, Aquaman, I thought, that was at least my last review, actually, of the year, and it was alright. I really enjoyed it. It was down the middle. The plot was generic. The thing that sold it for me, I did the comparison in my review. What sold it for me was the visuals and the music and all, like, was so great and so, like, it's like this big event. Like, it just really sold you on it, even though it's nowhere close to that. But it sold you on that, which is what those kind of films should do. So I was impressed in that regard. And a lot of the acting wasn't that bad, but the story and the overabundance of characters and the 2.5 hour runtime really dragged it down for me in that regard. On to number 21. Now, this was one of the Oscar darlings from this past year and one of the Best Picture nominees and all that. 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. 3 Billboards I thought was not all that. In my review, I gave it an above average, and I'll stay by that. But score was fantastic. And it was so great. And some of the character stuff in it was really interesting, and it was really ambitious because it went in different routes and all. But just the stuff that didn't work really didn't work. Number 20, speaking of films that break out and people thought would flop and they don't flop, Venom. Yes, Venom was kind of a surprise. Now, a lot of people I know hate this film, and rightfully so. There's some really bad moments in it. It's so bad at times, but I don't know, it's just the parts that work I thought were really great. Like, the dynamic between them is what saves it for me, even though it's near the end of the film. And the setup was actually not that bad, and it makes sense, but like I said, we don't get enough of this, and that's what dragged it down for me. And also the villains were really one-dimensional. At number 19 is Halloween 2018. Now, Halloween 2018 was a really well done film. I never really saw any of the other Halloween films, so this is me just going off of this. And apparently, all the other ones are not canon. This is just a straight sequel to the original one, which I think is very smart for them to do. Yeah, it had really well acted stuff, some really interesting scares. While I'll bet that a lot of the moments were like, and it was really just, it fell flat at times, and the ending was, if they undercut what they did at the end, I would be so mad. But the music was really good. They brought the classic theme in it. I loved the introduction, how they set up to when he finally gets out. It felt kind of rewarding. You're like, whoa, it's gonna happen, and it was just a really entertaining film. On to number 18 now. I mean, this might be a little bit controversial being so low, but I know a lot of people that hate this film, so maybe not. But Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, Solo, a Star Wars story, was not awful. I know some people that just hate the new films that just say that this film is the best, but by definition, this film is nowhere near the best. It's the worst that Disney's made. But that's not to say it's necessarily bad, because when you're watching it, like, I've seen so many people do video essays and stuff on how this film ruins Han Solo's character, and it just undercuts all the coolness and mystery behind him. And I agree, yeah, some parts got me so mad. Like how apparently he never really had the name Solo. That was just given to him by the Empire. What the heck? And he's not really a great pilot, because it's the droid in the film. When she dies, you put her memories into the ship to make it fly better. I'm like, what are you doing? And you have this one generic villain that basically is Paul Bettany. And he was just really, I mean, he looked cool, but looks do not make it for me. And I didn't really care that much about this group. The only people I liked was, honestly, Honor Airwright was not that bad. I like his dynamic between Chewie. That was another thing that really saved it for me in that regard. And Woody Harrelson was great. But the forced romance in it was trash. I did not like it at all. And at number 17, we have Ralph Breaks the Internet. Now, in my initial review, I gave it like an 8 out of 10. I think I was overly positive about it. But upon thinking about it, I'm like, it wasn't all that. Like, I really enjoyed it as its own thing. But one of my buddies actually compared it, had a lot of similarities to the Emoji Movie. And it really does when thinking about it. But like I said, I really like these characters, and I was enjoying the ride. But about when you get to the third act, the film should be over, but it just keeps going. And I did also, speaking of that, it also ties into what they did with Ralph in this. I hate what they did with Ralph in this. Just awful. I thought it was so stupid and completely goes against how he was in the first film. A lot of the fan service, like the Disney princesses or the Marvel stuff and Pixar, all that stuff is great. So that kind of sucked me in a little bit to liking it a lot. All right, on to number 16. Mamma Mia, here we go again. Mamma Mia, here we go again. I thought I would hate, because the first film was one of the worst films I've ever seen. But this film does everything better. Just by filming alone, it's really colorful, it's really vibrant. The cast actually feels like they want to be there instead of being like, oh, the first one made a lot, so let's just make a sequel. And the songs in here are sung and performed much better than the first film. All that alone made it better. But I don't know, I had such a sweet time with it. It was a really sweet movie. On to number 15, which I know is going to make a lot of you mad because I've been seeing a lot of end of the year lists and everyone's like, this is in their top 10, top 5, sometimes favorite. I can't though, and that's Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, before I get the comments of being like, you crazy person, that film was great and all that, it's really well done. I'm not going to deny. It's so predictable and it's so generic, and the only thing it has going for it is the cool stunt scenes by Tom Cruise. That really is it. And I mean, a lot of the action was really done, and I was expecting more because everyone was saying best film of the year, so I was expecting a great story. Like, I was just expecting more in the story department, but I didn't get it, and I was like, this is stupid action. This is just like a lot of those other blockbusters that everyone shuns. So why is this film any different? It makes no sense, but whatever. Number 14, which I know is going to make a lot of you mad because you're going to be like, really, this film over Mission Impossible? But I don't care. And that's Ant-Man and the Wasp. You may be like, you psycho, you Marvel fanboy, and all that. I'm like, if I was a Marvel fanboy, all the Marvel films would be on my tops. But this is at number 14, not even in the top 10. But when seeing it, I know it was, I just didn't like what people were saying about how, oh, it's the perfect palate cleanser. It's this calm relief after Infinity War. I'm like, that's not how films should be graded. What? It should be graded on its own merit. And on its own merit, it was a fun, small ride. I mean, there's lots of bland moments in it, I won't deny. And the best part of the film is the after credits scene, sadly. But I don't know, I kind of was charmed by it. I really love seeing Paul Rudd in these films because I think he's such a nice guy and really great. So I'm glad to see him getting his footing in there more. And Evangeline Lilly, I thought was really well done as the Wasp, even though she's kind of rude at times and strict for no reason. And also, I liked how they gave Michael Douglas, Hank Pym, a lot more to do in the film. And even though you know how the film's going to end, because on the poster you have the Wasp mom on there, so you know she's going to be fine. And also the whole side plot thing with the Walter Goggins character and his men chasing after them as well. I thought that could have been done much better if you connect it with the actual main villain of the film and have them working together. But whatever. On to number 13 is Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I thought this was a really entertaining film. The music, how they incorporated it into the film was great. And really, like I was saying, my only real problem with it was I wish it focused on more of the band members instead of just all Freddie. I thought how it incorporated the music, the ending I thought was great. And it really delved into Freddie, his character, and I really liked that. And yeah. Number 12 is Ready Player One. This film was really great, guys. I enjoyed it so much. It was by Steven Spielberg. This is probably the film that everyone was wanting him to make. It was a really well done cast. I mean, it was a bunch of no names, but I thought it was really well done. The villain was great in his own way, like simplistically. The visuals were outstanding, and the message about the film I thought was really great. How it was basically saying how, like, it's basically like a study on what could happen in the future. Everyone hates the outside world, and that's why a lot of these people in the movie are trying to go into the virtual reality because they don't like the outside world and it's too tough and all. And I'm thinking you should be able to confront it though. You shouldn't run away from it. So I thought the message there was what really made it for me. Number 11 is Overlord. Now, Overlord from the marketing looked like complete trash, but it was a nice blend of a war movie and a zombie kind of horror thriller, and I thought it was really well done. Some of the mixing was kind of hard, it didn't really fit at times, but overall I had a blast with it. All right, everyone, we're getting to the top 10. I know a lot of you probably won't agree with my top 10. That's good though, but who cares? So moving on, number 10, the top 10 is Black Panther. A lot of you were like, overrated, trash, garbage, it should not get best. And I'm like, you guys think that, but I knew a lot of people would be saying nonsense like that when the film first came out and it was getting all this awards and it was getting a lot of critical praise and all that stuff. And I'm like, guys, it may not be best film of the year or anything, but it was a fantastically done world-building film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It had one of the best villains in the universe. It had an all-star great cast that everyone loves. And the visuals, while not the best at times, especially that third act, yikes. The action leading up to that was really good. The performances were great. The world building was terrific. And I just had a really fun time with this film. 9. A Star is Born. Now, A Star is Born is said to be one of the best films of the year. I thought the music in it, for the most part, was great. But the relationship between the two main characters, I was not all that for. And I think it's kind of overrated, just a tad bit. But that's just my thoughts. Number 8 is Bumblebee. A fantastically, really heartwarming film that reinvigorated life into the Transformers series. With Haley Steinfeld and John Cena both turning in. Haley Steinfeld especially, a great performance. And John Cena is being John Cena, which I love. So, and really good action. Number 7, Beautiful Boy. Beautiful Boy was terrifically well-made film, and it's kind of like a study on what happens when someone takes drugs, and not how it affects the person, but also the family around it. And I thought that overall message was really great. Number 6, I, Tania. Another film that came out last year that I saw this year. I thought this was a really great, really funny, well-made film about the story of Tanya Hardin and the ice skating incident. I thought that was just, I don't know, I really digged it. Number 5 is Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin was a great film, guys. It is, I'm not gonna deny it. I hate how it got such bad response and stuff, but I really enjoyed the film. I thought Ewan McGregor was terrific as Christopher Robin. It had a great setup. I loved how the characters, I love the effects on them and all, and how they're actually there. I thought it'd be all in his imagination. I thought that would have been more dramatic if they were to do that and they just died when he forgot about them. But I kind of liked what they were doing here. It's just a really sweet little film by Disney. Number 4, we have Incredibles 2. Now, a lot of people are starting to say this film's overrated and all, but I'm sorry, guys. This film was magnificent. It was a great sequel from Pixar. Fantastic animation. It had one of those villain twist setups things that are in all these films now, which here was alright, but I predicted it. There's lots of stupid moments in this film now that I think about it, but I don't know, it built upon the sequel. I wish that the Underminer thing would have connected in more instead of just being there to be there, just because it ended the first film on it, and Brad Bird did not want to make a sequel. But oh well. Number 3, this is my top 3, guys. The top 3. And I know a lot of you will not agree, but I don't care. Number 3 is Bad Times at the El Royale. This film was fantastic. I loved almost everything about this film, and I hate that it didn't do as well. But all the characters in it, save for John Hamm, had really important, great roles in it. And it was really interesting on a what if. And it all focused, it kind of reminded me of Pulp Fiction, old style films, how it all revolved around this one thing. Pulp Fiction, the case, this film, this tape that's found there that a lot of people are going there for. And it doesn't really show you, which leaves up the mystery. It had some really great character moments in it, especially by Lewis Pullman. He was my standout in the film. And Jeff Bridges was really great too. It had a lot of unexpected moments that just kept me enthralled and wanted to see it over and over again. How fitting that my 2 favorite films of the year, I have both posters hung up in my room for. But yeah, which one's my favorite though, guys? Well, if you followed me on Twitter, you probably know. But let's talk about my second favorite, and that is Avengers Infinity War. This film was a masterpiece. It still is, in my opinion. How the Russos were able to juggle all of this into one film is beyond me. And just a lot of carefully effort and lots of love and passion poured in over the decade of their films is shown here. And I thought, for the most part, I had a great time. The visuals were fantastic. The jaw-dropping ending, which a lot of people are like, oh, it's not gonna stay. When you watched the film, you were shocked, okay? And it was just a really entertaining film. Lots of great character moments in there, and lots of shocking jaw-dropping moments. It's basically an event film, to say the least. And of course, number one is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. What a magnificent film, guys. Like, I am flabbergasted that that film beat this, but I'm sorry. The animation was fantastic. I enjoyed almost every minute, if not every minute, in this film. All the Spider-Man characters were juggled so perfectly. I mean, sure, some had a bit more moments than others, but that made sense with the story. I thought it was a great introduction to Miles Morales as a character. I loved the different Peter that we got that we never usually get in these films. And just, I really want there to be more. And the villain even had something there. They gave the villain like a backstory and stuff. It was really great. He wasn't just, oh, I'm bad to be bad. No, he had a reason. You felt bad for him in that respect, even though it was his fault. But yeah, I just had a great time. And also, there's so many fun little Easter eggs in there for Spider-Man fans out there that just really ate it up. It was so good. So with that, that's the end of my movies I've seen 2018 worst to first list. If you guys actually sat through this whole thing, that makes me really happy. I'm so glad you did. Again, thank you all for watching, and that means I'll have one more video to get out, and that is my top 10 favorite movie moments of the year. And then I'll see you all in the next year. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.